Episode 1 Tom Yum Kamakura. I'm coming to you live from Hojian, my tea room in Kamakura, Japan. Today, I'm drinking Phoenix Oolong tea, given to me by my friend Nana. Shout out to Nana. She's a great tea friend. We should all be so lucky to have tea friends like her. Today I have a story for you. It's called Tom Yum Kamakura. But since this is the first episode, before I start the story, I wondered if it would be okay if I tell you how this series came to be. Right now, I'm looking at a small, interestingly shaped, super futuristic camera device. It was given to me by a friend. That friend came to Japan. Let's call him W. W was here at the beginning of the summer. Now it's the late summer. And I'm following through on a promise that I made him. Do you know what the promise was? The promise was to make him a video and put it on YouTube. Of course, he had a lot of different ideas for what kind of videos I should make. I mean, this guy really loves videos. Like, he watches more videos, he says, than almost anyone, which I find hard to believe. But then again, I guess somebody has to be at the top of the video watching pile, right? Maybe this is the guy. Maybe my friend W is the guy on top of the video watching pile. Anyhow, I wasn't interested in making the kind of videos he suggested I make. He wanted me to bring you around Kamakura. He wanted me to tell you about Kamakura history. He wanted me to maybe even let you have a peek of my life. My little baby dragons, they're almost a month. Well, 3 months after 1 year birthday, so that would mean 15 months old. And they're twins, identical twins. He was like, that's hot content right there, which is kind of weird coming from him because he's a bit on the older side. But anyways, I wasn't really into those videos that he wanted me to make, the ones that get up a lot of views, like top 10 places to drink tea in Kamakura. But I told him I'd give it my best shot. And then I had another friend, let's call her S. S is actually in Japan now. She came here recently when I was really fumbling over the idea of what to do with this camera. And she was like, you know what I like? You know what really relaxes me when I'm having a tough day? She's in the law profession, so I'm sure you can imagine the type of tough days she has. She's like, I like watching videos where someone opens a bunch of cosmetic products and whispers to me about what they are. She said, it's called ASMR. And I was like, wait a second. ASMR, are you serious right now? Just kidding, I didn't say that. That'd be pretty lame if I said that right then. But I did say that's pretty cool. I wonder if I could whisper for a change. After all, I'm a pretty loud guy. In fact, here in Japan, when my partner's telling me that I should really pipe down, she means it. She's like, Japan's quiet, stop talking so damn loud. And maybe I'll tell you a story another time about a few of us foreigners who were here in a cafe in Kamakura and we got told off about being so loud. But that's not the story for today. So after I asked my friend S if she thought I should make a whisper video, I asked one more friend. Let's call him A. A was actually laying right here in my tea room just a couple days ago, And in fact, he just dropped by my house to drop off one of the sweetest gifts I've ever received. It's a babysitting pass. It's an offer to babysit my children. Can you imagine? Can you imagine my reaction? Yeah, it's a pretty great gift. It even has stamps that I can stamp for different uses of the babysitter pass. And there was like 12 stamps, so that's fantastic. So anyhow, when he was here the other day, drinking the same tea that I'm drinking now, and I told him I might whisper on a YouTube video, and he was like, bro, that sounds amazing, you should really do it. And pretty much any idea you say in a tea room sounds like a good idea. So, here we are, a few days later, with me whispering, starting this video with the story of how this story series came to be. So I guess it's time for us to start the story. Let me just have another sip of tea. Today's story is called Tom Yum Kamakura. And actually, it took place in my real life. This is a non-fictional account of what transpired just over 6 days ago here in Kamakura, Japan. It's late summer, as you know. So, at this time of year, the weather's starting to change, and I think people's moods start changing too. I know mine is. Mine's changing from hot heat, crazy Dweez, to wait a second. What kind of Dweez do I want to be? Not just now, but forever. So we were chatting with my friend A about maybe having dinner together. After all, we all had a busy week last week. And so we thought, why don't we just get some Thai food? Which sounded pretty great at the time. Now, Kamakura doesn't have, let's say, the most fantastic Thai options. The type of Thai options that I'm used to having in Los Angeles, for example, which has got a really great Thai population. Maybe the biggest in Thailand, or the biggest outside of Thailand. You know what I mean? But usually the Thai food in Japan, and in Kamakura specifically, just isn't that spicy. Doesn't really scratch my itch. But my friend A was insisting, dude, this one hits the spot. And I'm liable to believe A, since A actually lived in Thailand for 3 months. Me, I've only visited for a couple weeks here and there over the years. So I say, A, if you say it's spicy enough for you, it must be spicy enough for me. And so the restaurant we went to was called 889. It's right there in Uegahama Beach, above the hemp restaurant that sometimes does live music. And so, in preparation of going down there, we decided to get the food to go. Since we've got kids and all, you can't really just bang out and go have a meal in Thai food anymore the way you used to. You know, in the pre-kids Dweez universe. So, it was me, A, my partner, his partner, and of course my friend S. 5 of us. How many dishes do you think we ordered? I don't know, probably 15. Probably 15 dishes. You want to know why? Because we were super hungry. We were like, I bet we could order all the dishes. But then we kind of cautioned ourselves into getting that much food. So we settled on 15. And the thing is, the restaurant was like, yeah, I see that you guys have a soup here, but unfortunately, we can't let you have the soup to go, unless, of course, you bring your own receptacle. And so, that's how we found ourselves driving to get this delivery order, aka self-delivery, since we're just picking it up. A and I, with a giant bowl, the biggest bowl that I have in my kitchen, and a big wrap of somewhat, I'm gonna say, scientifically advanced saran wrap. This was specifically given to me by my partner, who was concerned about the soup potentially spilling on the way home. But she was saying, since we don't have a lid on this bowl. Why don't you use this high-tech saran wrap? And I was like, great, of course we will, no problem. But so we get to the Thai restaurant. And as we're waiting for them to prepare the food so we can bring it with us to go, they make it known that actually they also can't bring us the Thai teas to go that we ordered because we didn't bring any receptacles to take them in. I was unaware of that at the time, and if I would have known, I would have just brought maybe a couple jars, maybe a couple old peanut butter jars, which I save for reasons that I don't quite understand. I could have brought those jars with the lids, and we could have brought in cool to go Thai iced tea to really kind of quench our spicy thirst that we'll get halfway through the meal. But we didn't have them, and as I was considering whether I was going to drive home to get them, I stepped outside the restaurant, which is on like the third floor of this building overlooking the beach. It was probably 7:30 at that point, and as I looked out over the water, calling my partner to ask if I should come back to get the peanut butter jars, something happened to me. And that something was the moon. Now, I know what you're thinking. Yeah, Dweez, it's autumn. We get it. Moon viewing. It's the time of year to view the moon and all that. But here's the thing. You've never seen a moon quite like this moon. I've never seen a moon quite like this moon. This moon, in fact, wasn't even a moon. It was like a sun, which accidentally came out at nighttime. It was a sun, basically making believe as a moon, but not being able to block its shine. And all the shine, all the light, was coming out over the water in Sagami Bay in this kind of brilliant band that was all chopping up like it was a song. And I was just losing my marbles looking at this. I could hardly talk on the phone. In the end, we decided not to get the jars and just decided to cancel the Thai tea. But I was so excited about the moon that when I came back into the restaurant to tell my friend A about it, I was devastated to see that he wasn't there. He had gone into the bathroom. And so, at that point, I did what basically anyone would do. I sat down and I started to look on my phone. At what? I have no idea. But within like 45 seconds, I had forgotten all about the moon. I had forgotten all about Thailand, Thai food, Kamakura, tea with Dweez, the video. I forgot about everything. I was just lost in my phone, looking at I don't even know what. I couldn't even tell you what. If you gave me a quiz of all the options that I could have been looking at, I'd fail it because I would just hit all the boxes assuming I was looking at everything. That's more or less what the experience that I have every time I open my phone when I don't really have something really specific I'm trying to do. So anyways, by the time A got out of the bathroom, I was basically like, hi dude, how was the bathroom? Totally, completely forgotten about the moon. Pretty soon thereafter, they finished up our dishes, and when they brought out the soup in our giant bowl, they already had put some saran wrap on it. Now, I have a feeling at this point you might know where this story's going, but I hope you continue to listen because it's pretty enjoyable. So, I look at the saran wrap, looked like a pretty adequate job, and I figure that they're a restaurant after all. They probably know how to wrap some saran, you know? So I decided not to use the industrial grade, high-tech scientific saran wrap and just rock what they had. So we bring all the 15 dishes in the bags down to the car. We arrange everything very carefully in my friend's side of the car, the passenger seat, with the bowl between his legs on the floor. And he looks over at me right as I'm about to start the car, and he's like, hey man, just drive really carefully. And I was like, bro, I got this. If there's one thing I know how to do, it's drive carefully. And he was like, great. So I start backing out, making it onto Highway 134, and we straighten up the car and proceed forward towards our side of town. But here's the thing. Guys. As I'm coming up the crest of this hill, all of a sudden I get blasted. Blasted by what? blasted by that moon. It comes through like a slap in the face. It comes through like a gust of wind on a hot day. It comes through like someone at the party who's already been partying that just showed up at the party and had partied way harder in the pre-party. Just full blast, alright? This moon is full blast. And it's bathing us in light. And I'm like, suddenly remembering, yo, A, check out the moon. And just then, we could see the light shimmering on the water. And it was so beautiful. I mean, I'm talking about stunning. And so he's like, wow. That was A's reaction. He's just like, wow. And right as he gets to the last W part of the wow, the one that ends the word wow, I realized that I was going through the traffic light and it was already red. So, you guessed it, I slammed on my brakes. Call it a reflex. Call it getting caught up by the moon. But at that point, the inevitable happened. It went everywhere. The tom yum soup that we had ordered had now turned our car into tom yum ka. Now, that little joke is not something I can take credit for. That was my partner's doing much later in the story. But in that moment, for about 5 seconds, my heart sank, and then I turned on the overhead lamp, and I looked down to find a pond, a full-blown pond of tom yum soup in the trough of the passenger seat foot area. What do you call that? The foot zone, the floor mat zone. Anyways, it wasn't much of that anymore for us. It was just a trough of tom yum soup. And my friend A was speechless, and I just said, I'm so sorry. And he said, don't be sorry. It doesn't hurt that bad. It doesn't hurt that bad. That's what this man said to me. It doesn't hurt that bad. And for the next 30 seconds, let's say, as the light was turning back from red to green, I said, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. But by the time the light had turned, I wasn't sorry any longer. I was laughing, 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 like a banshee in the night, like my twins when they're just losing their marbles at the mere shimmers of life that they're experiencing on a daily basis, laughing like I've never laughed before, laughing like a whole comedy theater of people laughing at a joke that was so funny that people were shooting milk from their childhood out of their nose, okay? Really laughing, like pee your pants laughing. I couldn't get over it. I couldn't get over how funny it was. I wasn't even sorry anymore. I wasn't sorry at all. I thought it was hilarious. And at the same time, the thing that I thought was the most hilarious about it was that it was really the moon's fault. I didn't feel like I had done a thing. It was the moon. The moon was the one to be held responsible here for the spillage, not me. It wasn't my doing. I didn't act alone. I had no sinister motives. I wanted to drink that tom yum soup just like everybody else waiting back at the house. But the moon had other ideas. And so when I got back home, I laughed and I kept laughing, and people couldn't believe how hard I was laughing. And people wanted me to feel a little bit bad, but mostly I was laughing. And I came to realize that the moon, especially in the fall or in the late summer here in Japan, when it's that full and it's that time of night, it should really come with a warning sign on it. A warning sign that says, careful, if you look at this moon while you're driving soup home, chances are that soup is going to end up all over your friend's feet. And so, this is how I came to be called the tom yum Kamakura storyteller. Because this was a story I knew immediately I would never forget for the rest of my life. Something that I could wear with pride. Yeah, when people see me walk down the street now in Kamakura, they're like, there he is. That's the guy. The guy who loved the moon so much that he lost a tom yum soup for it. That he slightly burned his friend's feet for it. that he lost reputation as a safe driver for it. That's the guy who really loves the moon. And you know what? There are a lot of things I've been called in my life. A lot of things I've called myself in my life. But if the end of my life, if someone just says, hey, I remember Dweez as the guy who just loved the moon so much, I would take that all the way to the grave and the next life and spread it out like free candy on a hot day at summer school. We hope you enjoyed this first episode of Tea with Dweez, the Whisper Stories. I never thought I'd get a chance to say this, much less whisper it. But smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, tell your friends. Watch this while you're doing the laundry. Watch this while you're doing the dishes. Don't watch it, just listen to it. Don't listen to it, just watch it. I mean, look at all the footage you just saw, and I didn't even have to tell you what a single thing was. You could just experience it as it was. Great, right? Alright guys, we'll see you next time. Sending you a lot of love. Wishing you were having some tea with me. Gonna sip this last cup of Phoenix Oolong, and I'm gonna call it a day.